thought that I hit go live already, but apparently I didn't, and I ran away without hitting it.
You're not, yeah.
Here we are, live suddenly.
I would have been entertaining people at that point. I would have at least put on a smile.
Yeah,
and said,
because
"Hey,
I
let's
had
do
it in my earpiece. I'm like, talk, Colton. Talk, Colton. All right, I'm going to get my stuff up on here. Elena, you started to say something. You read through the translation. I didn't know what you're going to say.
Oh my gosh, which one?
I don't know. You started to say it.
Huh?
I heard on my.
No. I said it is. I said it is intimidating. That's what I said.
Yeah. That I didn't hear.
This is ridiculous. The length of these are ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. Let me throw this up now. It's kind of ridiculous. My internet's so slow too. I don't know why it's so slow.
Yeah, it's buggy today.
I want to show you real quick the exercises for 41 that I've already typed up. I don't know if you guys realize, but it takes me quite a bit of time to type all this stuff up.
I imagine it takes hours.
Look at this. This is number 1, number 2, number 4. These are long as heck. There's only 3 in the English to Hebrew because they're so long.
It's more like, but say it's more like 9. At least.
Yeah.
They are not the same sentence, right? That's not one sentence.
No, they're different.
Okay.
It's one exercise.
So it could be split into parts.
Yeah, this is what I've been doing, splitting them. But wow, I don't know what he's thinking, expecting people to do so much. Okay, so here we are in exercise 40 again. The yellow is what we did last week. And so today we've got 4D to 4G and then number 5. Which, thank goodness, number 5 is short.
Yeah.
I put here a quotation mark because the quotation started way up in this 4a. That's the quote that Joshua was saying. And it continues. So in each square, I'm putting a quotation mark to remind us that that's what we're doing. So, okay, I'll go ahead and read. והיה אם יצאו לקראתנו בשלום, אל תשפכו דמים, כי זכור תזכרו את מצוות משה, ועשיתם עמהם חסד. ואם לא יצאו לקראתנו בשלום, וקראו עלינו למלחמה, וקראתם אתם בקול גדול לאדוני וליהושע, ועליתם העירה, והכיתם אותם לפי חרב, מגדול ועד קטון. Okay, so, and it will come to pass. This little phrase it's not really necessary, right? And if it happens, right? And it will come to pass if they should come, this is irreal, if they should come out toward us or against us. The traditional idea is to meet us in peace. If they come out toward us in peace, do not spill, al tishpechu, lifeblood. Don't spill blood, lifeblood. It's in the plural because it means don't kill anyone. And the key often is but you shall surely remember, but remember, right? He's stressing the verb, remember. But remember the commandment of Moses and v'asitem imachem chesed, treat them with kindness. Do kindness with them. But if they should come out, this is another irreal yitzu, if they should come out, and this time I'm going to say against us, if they should not come out to meet us or towards us in peace. If they don't come out to us in peace, and they call, when they say that call, that means that they summon people to come together against us for war. Then you shall call, you yourselves, see the atem, you yourselves, you should call with a great voice to the Lord and to Joshua. That's me, I'm speaking, Joshua. And you shall go up, okay, to the city and strike it, meaning to strike, to attack it, or to attack them, to strike them, kill them by sword, okay? And then he gives specifics. Doesn't matter if they are big or small, that means adults and children. From big, that means adults, to and to small, it means children. Kill all of them, adults and children. Yeah. Migadol ad katon could also refer to stature in the city. It could be the important people, the rich people, and the poor, the small folk. This expression from big to small or from small to big is also used in Isaiah. Now, Jeremiah chapter 31, it says that God will make a new covenant and they will all know me from the least of them to the greatest. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Colton said, who is here? And why doesn't everybody say nobody? We got a like from Paul John Casalje, Guansing. But apart from a like, oh, now we have a viewer. Good. Who is our viewer? And who's going to do number 2? Or not number 2, but 4C. Or E.
E, I will. V'haya betet Adonai. Sorry, I'm going to read that again. V'haya betet Adonai el ha'ir b'yedchem.
Et ha'ir. והיה בית אדוני את העיר בידכם.
בידכם אל תיקחו לכם מן הזהב ומן הכסף אשר יימצא בה כי בהיכל אדוני תביאו אותם ואם בקרם ואת צונם.
בקרם, okay.
I
heard be karam, like be in and karam, but it's bakar. So it's bakar, bakaram.
Oh, so it is.
Yeah. So I heard something that I was like correcting because I heard.
No, I swear my Hebrew is worse. My Hebrew is worse the last 2 weeks than it's been in a long time. And I don't know why.
Fix it.
I wish I knew how. Tavuz lachem.
So in bekaram ve'tzonam tavozu lachem.
Tavoz. I can't even see that. I don't see the colon.
I don't think I'm able to make it bigger on the screen. Only just make the text bigger, which is.
I'm not even reading off your screen. Oh, it's just hidden by the.
There's a cholam by the accent.
Yeah, no, I see it now that I'm zoomed in like 15 times. I did not even. No, I wouldn't have seen that. Tavozu lachem. Hishamru ma'od la'asot kechol asher tziviti etchem va'al tasuru mimenu. Bintihye magefa ba'am. Okay. And it will be when this guy, when the Lord, when Yahweh gives the city into your hand.
Right. So when he delivers it into your hand, right? When he gives it into your hand.
You shan't take.
Ye shall not take, because it's not thou shalt, because thou shalt is singular, ye shall.
All right. Yeah. Jonathan's not here to bug, so I just let it go today. Ye shall not take for yourselves from the gold or the silver,
Literally from the silver.
or from the silver. Sure, since it's
Look at you
from
not
the
deleting entire 2 words just to add one.
which
That's
is
professionalism.
found therein.
Therein. Okay, and
He
what is
hates-
this key? What is this key doing? Don't do this. Ki bechal Adonai taviu otam. Remember,
For
lots of uses of the word ki.
I know. Hold on. I just think ki va'im. So I'm trying to do it without translating it in my head.
So it says, Al tikhu min hazav u'min hakesef, ki bechal Adonai taviu otam. It's not giving an explanation,
Right.
but it's giving an alternative thing that you're supposed to do. Don't take it for yourselves. Ki taviu otam bechal Adonai.
Okay.
Instead,
No.
or but, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I wouldn't have gotten that without having to translate it in my head. I was trying to do it just like reading it over a few times. No, I'm not used to that usage of ki.
Well, you're used to ki'im, right? Ki'im, but rather.
Yeah.
So ki
Right.
often functions as ki'im. So we're going to say
Right.
into because it's lehavi, to bring in.
Right.
Into the temple of the Lord, tavi'otam. But bring them, that is the gold and the silver, into the temple of the Lord. And this is an imperfect tavi'u that's functioning as an imperative.
Yeah.
You shall do it. Instead, into the temple of the Lord you will bring them. Okay.
Okay.
Ve'im karam ve'tsonam.
Be
I don't think that's
very-
right. I don't think im is right. I think it's supposed to be ve'et. That seems wrong. So fix that in your head. Ve'et karam ve'tsonam tavozu lachem.
Oh yeah. Your cattle and your flocks.
Not yours. No. There.
There's my bad. Yeah. Come on, fingers.
Tavozu lachem.
You shall I don't know, take a spoil for yourself.
Sure. Plunder, take as spoils. I think spoils is supposed to be with S. Spoils, not spoil.
Sure. I don't whatever. Works for me.
הישמרו מאוד לעשות ככל אשר ציוויתי אתכם, ואל תסורו ממנו פן תהיה מגפה בעם. הישמרו מאוד לעשות ככל אשר ציוויתי אתכם.
Careful, be very careful to do everything which I have commanded you.
ואל תסורו ממנו. ואל תסורו ממנו.
Do not stray from it.
Technically turn from it, right?
I know.
פן תהיה מגפה בעם.
Lest
And that's part of the same sentence.
plague.
Blessed is an independent sentence.
Right. Lest a
תהיה
plague.
מגפה בעם. Lest there be a plague among the people. So put the word there in there because you need there. What's the word there for? It expresses existence. Lest there be a plague. Lest there be.
Plague
Lest
B
there be a
is
plague among the people.
the other way was perfectly fine. There was nothing syntactically wrong with it.
All right, so 4F is not going to continue the quote, so I put an end of the quote there. I don't know if you can feel where a quote ends. because it's not marked in Hebrew, but the quote has ended. And now it's going to tell us what the children of Israel did, what the Israelites did. Okay, so 4F. This, honestly, the level at which we are at this point in Weingreen is just like reading the actual Hebrew of the Bible.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, I feel like I should just be reading it quickly like I'm doing, just like going over and over and over it, because I think that at this point, if you're following with us in Weingreen, you should be pretty good at Hebrew.
Yeah.
So, this is a high level. I think this is the level of Hebrew that most people who study Hebrew in university or in seminary never get to.
No, absolutely not. I mean, not in like definitely not in intro courses ever. No.
Yeah. Because they've given up mostly on long form translation exercises, but also communication. Like it's not used at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very rare that you get to like discourse level kind of stuff, which is what that is. You're having to keep up with where the quote ends, where it begins, where the next part of the story is. Yeah, very rarely.
So I think it's kind of good that he makes the exercises so long, but it's not good for sitting in front of people and translating it out loud.
I mean, you could do it, and you could still do it in less space.
So before Elena reads the 4F, whoever's out there in live chat land, it would be nice to hear from you, and you could leave us a message. Elena, you want to tackle 4F for us?
Yes. וישמעו בני ישראל אל יהושע ויעשו בכל אשר ציוום ויסובו את העיר כל היום מהבוקר עד הערב. ויהי בערב ויצאו.
I'm sorry, I have a bit of a cough today. I don't know why.
ויצאו. Right? ויצאו.
Because remember, the future is yetse, yetsu, and so this is flipping the future. If we take it as this inversion of the tenses, vayetsu.
ויצאו יושבי יריחו למלחמה ויקראו בני ישראל בקול גדול מאוד לאדוני ולישוע ויעלו העירה.
Just as far as pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton and that, so it's instead of le Adonai, the technical pronunciation is la Adonai, and with Yoshua it's veli Hoshua. Veli Hoshua.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And children of Israel, listen.
Are you going to type, or shall I type up as you're speaking?
Oh, I cannot type. I don't know how this functions over there. I don't know.
You have
from
Patreon. From Patreon, you have a link that says Google document, and you can open that and write on the screen. But you don't have to. Just speak and I'll type.
Oh, please help me this time. Okay.
So the children of Israel, we would say also the Israelites.
Children of Israel.
The Israelites.
Israelites listened to Yehoshua and did everything that he commanded them. And they surrounded the city, and they were surrounding the city.
How about we say they went around? They went around the city
went
all
around.
day.
Okay,
all
yeah,
day.
that's people.
Mhm.
Okay, they went around. They were going around the whole day, uh, from a morning to evening, from the morning to the evening, and it was that by the evening,
So
when
normally Vayhi, we're going to say, and it came to pass in the evening.
and
Right.
it came to pass in the evening that the inhabitants of Jericho went out for war. Right?
Yep.
Okay. So, and children of Israelites,
Mhm.
cried out with a great voice, very great voice, to
Mhm.
cried out to Adonai and to Yehoshua,
Mhm.
and went up towards the
They went
city.
up, yeah, to the city. Okay, great. Ha'ira, to the city, toward the city. Brilliant.
Yeah, there's no
All
more.
right. Great. ותחזק עליהם יד ישראל, וינוסו אנשי יריחו מפני ישראל הירדנה. ויצב יהושע, וירדפו בני ישראל אחריהם, ויכו אותם לפי חרב. וישובו אל יריחו, ויבוזו להם את הצאן ואת הבקר, ומן הכסף ומן הזהב אשר מצאו בעיר, לא לקחו להם, כי בהיכל אדוני הביאו, כאשר ציווה אותם יהושע. All right. And the hand of Israel, the power, right? Hand is power of Israel was upon them. Of Israel was strong upon them. Strong with you. The force is strong with you. Right? So the force of Israel, the power of Israel, the hand of Israel was strong upon them or against them, right? And they fled. Who fled? The men of Jericho fled from the presence of or from before Israel to the Jordan, or to the land of Jordan, right? It wasn't technically a state at the time, but it was an area, the river, it was probably to the river area, maybe to the other side of the river, not sure. And Joshua, that's a big O. Joshua commanded, and they chased, that is, the Israelites, the people of Israel, the children of Israel, the Israelites chased after them and struck them, means they killed them by sword. They killed them by sword. Elena dropped. Where'd she go? But notice, let's see. When it says he commanded and they did, it kind of means he commanded them to. He commanded them to chase after them, and they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it says they, that is the children of Israel, of course, returned to Jericho after they killed all the men, and plundered or spoiled. They took spoils for themselves, of the flock, and they spoiled for themselves, they plundered for themselves the flock and the bakar, cattle.
Yeah, that's what I will go with, but sure.
But from the silver and from the gold, from which they found in the city, they didn't take any of the silver or gold that they found in the city for themselves. But They brought. Heviu, they brought it into the temple of the Lord. Kasher, as Joshua had commanded them. This is wrong because there was no temple during the time of Joshua. The
Right.
temple was built
Yeah.
during the
I thought
time
that-
of Solomon.
I thought that very thing earlier until when I wrote it, and I was like,
Instead of the temple, it would have said the Otsar, the treasury of God. Otsar Adonai.
sit tabernacle, Mishkan. I would allow it.
All right.
But, yeah.
We are going to finish this very quickly. This has
Yeah.
been very good, For lesson 40 in Weingreen. Good job, guys. This is very advanced stuff. Very advanced.
ויהי אחרי הדברים האלה, ויצב יהושע את העם לאמור, זכרו את יום צאתכם מארץ. I hate that. מצרים, מצרים והר.
This is a really common expression. Zichru et yom tzetchem me'eretz Mitzrayim. Remember the day of your leaving from the land of Egypt. It's like when we talk about the Exodus is actually called in Hebrew Yetziat Mitzrayim. That's the word for Exodus. We don't say Exodus because Exodus is Greek, right? Exodus means exit, way out.
וחגותם,
with the stress on the heavy ending. Chagotem.
That's what I said.
I heard chagotem.
No, you don't know what you heard. את חג הפסח, כאשר ציווה אתכם משה עבד אדוני, ויעשו בני ישראל את הפסח נגד יריחו. Okay.
This word Eved Adonai is like a translation. If it were translated into Arabic, it would be Abdallah. Abdallah. This is a name in Arabic. It means God.
It was after the.
So we can call him Moses Abdallah. That's so wrong.
Joshua commanded the peeps, saying, remember ye the day of your going out from the land of Egypt, and celebrate the festival of Passover, just as Moses is the proper name, but it needs to be capitalized. Moses,
Moises Abdallah,
servant of Yahweh, commanded you.
All right. כאשר ציווה אתכם משה עבד אדוני, ויעשו בני ישראל את הפסח.
Children of Israel kept Passover. The Passover.
נגד עיר יריחו.
Before Jericho.
Not temporal.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Opposite. I can never think of this as the kind of direction, but yes, opposite Jericho.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, since we finished that, and that is wonderful, let us talk a little bit. Let's call up a different page and talk a little bit about the idea of finishing Weingreen and moving into something else. There is a guy that we all know so well called Xiao So. Xiao. It's a Chinese name. And he wrote a grammar for biblical Hebrew. In 1995, they published a revised edition of this book. You can get it for under $30 from Amazon.com. And this was the first edition, the red one. I never had that one. I took directly from the revised edition because I started my Hebrew studies in 1999. And this book came out in 1995. So this was the version of the book that we used. Oh, everybody can see my address. Did you see that? You could see my home address on there. That's not nice. Anyway, I started Hebrew with this book in 1999, and it was what we used. This is what it looks like without the dust cover. Grammar for Biblical Hebrew. I've had this since 1999. You can see that's where I lived when I had the book. Ozark Christian College, Strong Hall, room 319. That's where I studied Hebrew. So we, I think, are going to work through this book. And so it would, I think, be a good idea for anybody who's interested. You can get a paperback for under $30, hardcover for just over $30, $33. So if you can get your hands on that, then you will be prepared to work with us through this grammar. Now, this is going to be a bit different than what we've done with Weingreen. With Weingreen, I've expected you basically to do all the reading on your own, and I said I'm not teaching Hebrew. I said we are using Weingreen just to do the exercises, and you will need to learn all of the grammar principles and everything on your own. But because the exercises are so heavy in Weingreen, as we are definitely seeing now, I just wouldn't have the time to teach through it and also go through all of the exercises. So this is kind of like a verbal and visual key for the exercises as we work through them together. But this is going to be a bit different. The exercises in Sio's book are very simple, and once he gets about 5 chapters in, he switches to telling you basically to read this section from the Bible and translate with the following helps, which makes it a lot more interesting, but we will take up the challenge of teaching through the grammar. So if you want to have a free Hebrew course that covers an entire university level grammar, please join us. That's what we're going to do as soon as we stop with Weingreen, which we're almost finished with. So if you know anybody who wants to learn Hebrew from the beginning, have them buy that book. It's an excellent book for learning, and we will do that together. What do you guys think?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Sure.
When I take this part or some other part, cut it and place it on my congregation Facebook and website, so that I know some people who would be interested from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I'll put together some kind of advertisement that I'll post on Facebook, and I can give you a link.
And not for the whole lesson, because it will be over the head. But if we start with from the very beginning, they might be interested to join.
Yeah, no problem.
Like this part, like when you say something and maybe one translation or something, can I have your permission to do it? Just cut this thing.
You can do what you want.
Okay.
I'm not against you using anything that I publish on the site, on the YouTube. As far as I'm concerned, anybody who can use it to further Hebrew knowledge in the world, do it. And I say that to everyone. Use anything that I publish, anything that I send out. I want people to know Hebrew. That's all I care about. So I actually put together a PowerPoint for the first lesson already. I've, in the meantime, set this to show December 1st. I'm not sure when we're going to start. It's going to be after we're done. But this is basically what I'm looking at, because the first lesson is going to deal with the alphabet, sadly. I hate teaching the Hebrew alphabet, and I wish that everybody would use all the resources out there to learn it. I tried to teach my mom. She's saying Laila Tov, good night. She tried to learn the alphabet with me, and I didn't do so well. I hate teaching the alphabet. Because I think there are a lot of good resources out there, like Aleph with Beth, that you could use. Andrew and Beth have put together an excellent. First of all, their entire series is fantastic, but second of all, they have an alphabet instruction video that you could learn the alphabet with so well. So why learn it with me? It's not worth your time, and it's not worth your time. It's not worth my time. I hate teaching the alphabet.
Lambden doesn't even teach it. Like, it's in his preface, but he doesn't teach it in the lessons. Lambden's just like, you should know this. And
yeah, exactly. We know what they did to us in my college class. We had our first day of Hebrew. Like, we had Hebrew 3 days a week, I think. Hold on. No, it was a 6-hour course. Yeah, it was I think it was an hour and a half twice a week, and counted as 6 hours. How was that possible? Must have been a 4-hour course. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, we had it twice. The first class, he said, okay, this is the syllabus. Let's go over the syllabus. All right, this is the first half of the alphabet, blah, blah, blah. And then the next class was, this is the second half of the alphabet, blah, blah, blah. This is how we write it. Learn it. The third class was a test of the alphabet, and immediately we started into the course.
Yep.
Like, there was no mercy. This idea that it takes you a year to learn the alphabet is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Who says that?
There are entire books dedicated to people sounding out the alphabet. There's a book series called Aleph Isn't Tough. And it sits you down and has 30 lessons of, this is this letter, and it sounds like this. The next, this is, and people take a year to learn the alphabet. I'm sorry, but if you take a year to learn the alphabet, give up. You are not going to learn Hebrew. The alphabet needs to be covered in a couple of hours and then get into reading. But I'm not one who teaches the alphabet. I hate it. I think you learn the alphabet from reading. Yeah, listen to me, pronounce it with me, and you will know the alphabet.
I had somebody on, like, Biblingo's like a customer service like chat thing.
Yeah.
They asked me about like getting like something where you could read all of the syllables, like all the combinations of the consonants with all the vowels. I'm like, okay, I understand why that might be helpful. Like, it's not bad in theory. However, the amount of work that it would take, also just read, because not every consonant appears with every vowel.
Like, sit down in Genesis chapter 1 and just start sounding it out. Listen to somebody read it out loud, and that'll get you there.
Listen to an audio recording.
Having said that,
that's all you have to do. Listen to an audio recording, and then repeat after them.
That's all.
That's all you have to do.
Absolutely. Anyway, so having said that, this is the opening slide. At the top, you see Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and into verse 2 in Paleo Hebrew, just because it's fun to have Paleo Hebrew. That is the font. It's a font developed off of the Siloam inscription in Jerusalem. Bereshit bara Elohim, and so on. So anyway, session 1, it's just decorative. That's all it is. Lashon HaKodesh means the holy tongue. It's biblical Hebrew is called the holy tongue in Hebrew. Biblical Hebrew 101, using Show's book, A Grammar for Biblical Hebrew, from the Hebrew Cafe. Okay, that's the book, and basically a little introduction with something about Dr. Shaw and his current expertise and where he works.
I did get to meet him when I was at Emory. He was a visiting professor, one of the professors I was there. Yeah. I got to listen to him do an intro lecture too. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Nice. This is the letters of the alphabet. At the top, obviously, everybody who's here certainly knows the alphabet. Under that are the Sofit forms, the final forms of Kaf, Mem, Nun, Pe, and Tzadi. The vowels divided up into their categories and classes down below with the matres lectionis, the vowel letters. So I will just go over the letters at this point, go over them with the students, because by the end of the lesson, they are supposed to know the alphabet in its order and be able to write it out. So in order to do that, I'm looking at the different forms of the letters, where the first form, this is in my head anyway, right? I'm not sure how we're going to do it exactly, but first form is, go back, give me a pen. First form is the form that they need to learn for reading. This is the Paleo Hebrew. This is Shofar, which is my favorite font in Hebrew right now. This is the form of the letter in the Aleppo Codex, and something similar to how you'd write it in cursive. It's a font, but what we're going to focus on is obviously the one that you need to read for text, and just go through each letter and talk about it and how to write it and whatever. The underneath, this is the way that Show thinks that the letter should be pronounced or spelled. Doesn't matter. We're going to go through the entirety of the alphabet. And then once we're through with that, look at Genesis 1:1 without any points, just the bet that's got Dagesh Lene and the Shin, obviously, because they have variants of their sounds. And then look at them with the vowels. They don't need to know any vowels by now. The vowels will be introduced in the second lesson. This is the Shofar font, which is my favorite, with the vowels. And then this is just a look at ancient Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew, Hebrew before the Babylonian exile. These letter shapes specifically are not from Israel. These letter shapes are the same basic language, but it's from Moabite. The letter shapes are from the Mesha Stele. And so I chose it because of the shape of the Aleph. Aleph looks like this in the Mesha Stele, but in the inscription in Shiloh, in Jerusalem, it looks something more like this, which is kind of ugly. It's ugly, but that's Hebrew. And so this is a simplified form of this, like simplified,
and these
like
all
broken.
and these all come from a Phoenician writing system.
Yeah. And also some of the other letters in the Siloam or Shiloh inscription are kind of ugly, like the Tzadi instead is like this, kind of ugly. I like just to represent it like this. It's neater. But, this is a neat presentation of how people wrote Hebrew and Moabite and other Canaanite languages before the Babylonian exile. Then this is how we basically write it in modern Hebrew. Bet, Resh, Aleph, Shin, Yod, Taf, basically, right? And finally, a discussion of Dagesh Lene or Dagesh Kal and Dagesh Chazak, the forte, and what the difference is, about Beged Kefet letters and how we should mention that this is according to a Tiberian pointing system, which is inconsistent in some points with how we pronounce Hebrew today. For example, the Beged Kefet letters are not all doubled in modern pronunciation, but they were doubled to the Tiberians. And that's okay. It's okay that this pronunciation is changed. And then going over the various translation exercises that they have. First is transliteration. I will note that I have switched out V's for W's because I don't like transliterating Vav with a W. I don't like it personally. There are other things that I will mention that I do differently in transliteration, but it's not such a big deal. And then from Hebrew into transliteration, and that really is the end, because his goal is that you learn the letters of Hebrew and that you learn how to transliterate them into Latin representations. And so with that, I would say Toda Rabba, which is the end of this session. Thanks a lot. And that's basically what I want to start with when we go through the show's grammar book. So that's my direction.
So next time we start with number 2, with lesson 2.
Next time we're going to do exercise 42 from Weingreen, or 41. We still have two exercise sets from Weingreen.
Almost done.
Yeah, Kenny says they say patience is a virtue, but not in teaching the alphabet. It's just a grind at times, right? I used to be, when I was working for the Wall Street Institute in Israel, I was the teacher for the alphabet, like the English alphabet.
Sounds awful.
And yeah, I developed the curriculum that they used for teaching the alphabet in our centers.
So here's
I
two
hate
things.
teaching alphabet.
Yeah, here's two things I'll say about the alphabet. First one is the alphabet's not hard, but it's necessary. If you get stuck there, like learning a language is like walking in. This is the thing I use. It's like walking into a fog all the time, or walking in a fog all the time. You never know what's around you, but you know where you came from. That stuff you know is there, and you might not know how it fits in with the rest of everything else, but you at least know that part. And so as you get further in, the fog slowly starts to dissipate, but it is cloudy, and like that stuff gets maybe further away from you, but you know it's there, even if you can't see it directly. Even the stuff you learn. So,
I'm sure you're aware of Bill Mounts and his Basics of Biblical Greek.
I know he uses something like that, but I've never read that actually.
Yeah, he puts it in chapter 9.
Yeah.
Remember when I was young, I took time to actually memorize that book. And hold on, I'll pull it up just a second. I had a copy of Basics of Biblical Greek. I had a copy of his morphology.
I think actually Ken had mentioned that to me, and I'd never read that section. But Ken, the Patreon subscriber, mentioned it to me, and I was like, I don't know, but like I get what he's saying is like there's going to be stuff that it's not going to make sense, but you have to be okay with some of the ambiguity. But.
Well, so he introduced it because of the third declension nouns. Third declension nouns in Greek are kind of tough, and the thing is that in his book, it's very easy to feel like in the beginning, oh, this is nice, this is easy. Greek is such a good language, and it's so easy to do. But then when he hits you with third declension, he's like, well, just so you know, I understand that you're going into a hard time in your memory. Maybe it was chapter 10. Hold on. He called it the fog.
Yeah.
But maybe also, see, this is all new to me. Like, this is a different edition of the book. Maybe he changed things. I don't know what this different track is. Like, this was not in the version that I used. Heck, where is it?
I just developed it myself in my head and was like, oh, look at me, and forgot totally where it came from. Yeah. There's this
you might have heard it from him?
Well, I heard it from Ken, who heard it from him. That's what it was. Like, I know now that I'm thinking about it, that's exactly where I heard it from. Was Ken had mentioned that chapter to me and asked me a question, and though I had never read Mounts, I had some response, but I was like, oh, it makes sense. I like that, I guess. And you start doing it. It's like there's this old preaching adage is like, when you hear somebody say something, it's like the first time you repeat it, you give credit, and then after that, it's yours. That's kind of what's happened. And so
I wish I could find it here. I remember reading it, like it was years ago, and I was like, yes, that's how I feel. I'm in the fog,
Yeah.
But for me, the fog hit with Greek when I was in chapter 21.
Yeah.
Like when I hit chapter 21 in this book, I just put the book down and I stopped until I got into university.
Yeah. But I am.
Maybe he took it out of this edition of the book. I don't know.
I don't know. The other thing I was going to say is that if you want help just with exercise and alphabet stuff, though, the Blinko has several alphabet modules that are free if you join.
There you go.
Yeah. You get a free 10-day trial if you've never had that before. But even after that, you get both flashcards. And Seiyu's flashcards are on the app, or Xiao. His flashcard, his 6.31 in mounts is what Ken says.
Nice. 6.3?
6.31, 631, 6.31.
Oh.
And but the Seiyu's flashcards are on the app, so you can learn both the vocab that he has, and but we have standalone alphabet lessons and exercises that you can do in the app as well for free, even after the 10-day free trial ends. So I'm gonna throw that plug in there as we're going into that. So
How could it be back in chapter 6? That seems way back.
he says also in summary of chapter 9.
See, I thought it was in chapter 9. That's where my brain was. Okay. 6.31.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it here.
631.
It was in a section just called The Fog. False positive. Article. I don't know, but let me tell you that metaphor stuck in my head forever.
Yeah. Apparently it's a good one.
I felt like at certain points in Greek, I felt like I was really in the fog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you in the third? Are you reading the 3rd edition? Is that what it is?
I don't even know. I don't have my copy of it in the 2nd edition.
Okay.
When I moved to Israel, it's one of the books I left behind, and, so I just have a digital copy of it now.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter so much, but it
Can
was
you not search for fog? Can you not search the article?
No, it's not.
PDF?
It's not. It's
Okay.
not
Okay.
searchable. Yeah, not searchable. I wish. I do have Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics in Logos and a few of those, but it is what it is. Got to deal with my limitations. Can't buy everything right now. I've bought these books in the past. Don't need to buy them again. I don't need to learn the basics of biblical Greek. Anyway, so we are going to move over to Weingreen 40, chapter 40. We've got 3 more to do, English to Hebrew. Not so bad. I think we're going to tackle that really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll have exercise 41 next week, and we will, we'll be in the penultimate lesson of the book.
Yeah. Right now,
which is unimaginable.
Yeah. Right now, we're in the pre-penultimate. So if
anti-penultimate.
Anti-penultimate, that's what it is. I was thinking pro-Platonic.
Pro-Platonic, yes. All right, so let's see. Oh, look, he's given a quote for it. Let's go back to the messages real quick. Muriel said, I need to learn the Hebrew script. That, I guess it means cursive. Do the script letters join together like English and French? No, they don't. There is this book by Chaim Hossein called Textbook of Israeli Hebrew. I'll show it on the big screen. Textbook of Israeli Hebrew. I bought this copy in Barnes & Noble in New York City, so I'm sure that you can find it pretty easily in America. It is a little bit outdated because it's old, but it's an excellent textbook that everybody should have. And there is an entire section in it on writing cursive. And on this page, it's very weird. He does join words together, and it's illegible. It's like something nobody can read. But he joins words together in ways, like letters together in ways that I've never seen. I can actually show this on screen too, because I have a digital copy of it in just a second. Because it's worth seeing, but the way that he writes in there, it must have been something that they were suggesting in the past as a way to connect Hebrew letters, but it is not something that anyone uses. Let's see, it's called Textbook of Israeli Hebrew, this one. Flip. And let's get to the page real quick. Can you see what's on the screen? No, you can't. Hold on.
No.
Share screen here. And now.
Now I can.
No, it's not obeying me. Okay, so here he's tried to connect. He's tried to connect the letters. Like on the top, it's a big T. These, no one would be able to read this. Like, this is so messy. You can see some of the words, like you can kind of make them out. He tried to get people to connect letters, but that's really ugly. It's very ugly. If anybody wrote this way, it would be like using ligatures that's just not readable. So yeah, the letters stay separated in Hebrew. It's cursive is just the flowing way that the letters are made. Let's see. I'm glad you paid attention to what I said to you, Colton. Kenny, he said, I'm glad you paid attention. 631 in Mounts. It's probably third edition, but here he gives the quote. You're now entering the fog. You'll have read this chapter and think you understand it, and perhaps you do, but it will seem foggy. That's okay. If living in the fog becomes discouraging, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. I remember that. Early on. Oh, it's the fourth edition. I think that I learned from the second edition. Second? No, because I was just looking at the second. It's not. Must have been the first edition. It was ages ago. And what else says, if you can't join the letters together for speed, what's the advantage of learning it? It's just because that's how everyone writes in Israel. It's not because it's fast. It's not. I mean, it's fast if you're used to writing it, like anything. But and you can be sloppier than you are with writing square script. Exactly, it's the main writing system in everyday stuff as well, and so you need to know it. Just for if you start writing square script to somebody, they're gonna look at you like you're funny because you're not supposed to write letters that way. You read them that way. You don't write them that way. It's like writing A like this, and G with a circle and the little circlet at the bottom. Like it would be weird to start writing like the letters are printed. And so that's how people feel, that the letters need to be written one way and read another. With that, we are 2 minutes over, and we're going to jump over to the English to Hebrew section for our Patreon members, which are most of you, and we really appreciate you and love you. And we'll see you on the other side. Bye, guys.